Hello, everyone. Welcome to class. I hope you're all doing well. So, today we're going to look at um, our course titled Program Proposal and Grant Writing. And as part of the lecturers who'll be taking the course, we'll be looking at, together with me, you'll be looking at concept of research, the research cycle, research problem. Then we'll also look at sources of research topic, factors to consider in selecting research topics, characteristics of a good research, and characteristics of a scientific research. I hope you're ready for this class. So, we'll begin with an overview and concept of research. I believe that most of you, before the end of each day, you go through your phones to find out information about one thing or the other. Say, for example, a piece of handbag. You want to look at the specification, or if a handset, a phone, you want to look at the specification, views about the phones and all of that. So would you also think that that's part of research? Okay, we'll also look at surveys online. When you go to social media, questions pop up, surveys pop up. For example, on Facebook or other social media platforms, they ask you to fill one or two questions that will be asked, and then they use the information to do what. So, what is exactly research? That's what we're going to look at. So, research is simply a search for new knowledge. Put it in a layman's language, search for new knowledge. Um, as it relates to a particular area of study or a subject matter. For example, fashion. In this context, public health, you can talk about maybe diseases like disease conditions or health conditions like diabetes, COVID-19, cervical cancer, and the rest of it. So when you engage in a search, when you make effort to search for new knowledge regarding a subject matter, you're simply making research. Or you are applying a knowledge you've gotten to solve a new problem. That's also an aspect of research. So put it together. A research is a systematic search for new knowledge of a subject matter or a subject study, or the application of an already existing knowledge to solve a new problem. So that is research. So what does research helps us to do? Research helps us to make a lot of good meanings. It helps us to make sense out of the world around us. It helps us to make sense out of inquiries, investigations, arguments, debates. Research helps us to make sense out of it. All right. So, and most times it's usually issues of contemporary significance. For example, you can remember when back then in 2020, the surge of COVID-19 pandemic, a lot of people didn't know exactly what the disease was, and so it led to making inquiries, searching out for information about COVID 19, looking at management strategies, looking at ways to, manage the disease condition, as well as even going beyond vaccine development. All of these are made possible as a result of research. So, research seeks to fill up a gap in knowledge. So, what this means is research is only complete when there's a gap in knowledge, and when that gap is being filled by whatever investigation, whatever inquiry, and whatever application of knowledge that you are going to give into it. That's when research is complete. So research has to fill up any gap in knowledge of a given subject matter. So before I go ahead, think about for a few seconds. Think about um, what's within your current environment. What is it that yearns for knowledge? What is that particular issue that you think needs further inquiry? Okay, so having done that, if there's a need for whatever issues that you've imagined or you've thought about, needs, if there's a need to inquire more, if there's a gap in the knowledge of that particular problem, then you're on your way to research. So this systematic investigation. Okay, before I go ahead, I would like to say that for you to be systematic in this context, we're looking at scientific research. That's why we're looking at systematic. And systematic usually follows steps and procedures such that someone who is in Nigeria who follows the same procedure to arrive at a particular result would, that same method or that same procedure, anyone outside Nigeria or outside the continent of Africa can as well follow that steps. So it's not random, it has to be systematic, it has to follow a particular step, a particular procedure in order to arrive at a conclusion. So this systematic investigation, what it helps us to do is to establish facts and to reach new conclusion. For example, a question can be, why do why do why do female students, I'm just giving this for example, why do female students lack money more than male students? I mean, you can find out if that's true. But if this is a valid question, research will help us to investigate and to establish facts about the lack of money among female students than male students. And then you come up with a new conclusion and say this is why female students lack money more than male students. You can ask questions like, um, is there any way, is there any cheap or cost effective um tool or material that can be used to improve female sanitary hygiene? These are problems. You look at about if you look around, you can see problems littered all over. So if you attempt to make inquiries about these problems and to find their solutions, then you're on your way to research. So scientific research, I must emphasize that scientific research really follows, it has to be systematic, right? And it also has other features, characteristics of research that is scientific. As we go further in this lectures, we're going to look at these characteristics and see what they mean to research. So, have you found yourself engaged in research, knowingly or unknowingly? What was it about? What do you think is the difference between scientific research and just research? So, I would like you to engage in the comment section. And if you have any question, please put it down in the comment section or you can reach out to me directly. I hope you enjoyed the lectures. Till we see again. Bye.